All right, ladies and gents, welcome to another TTL series. This is in round 2 of Silver. Here we have a very aggressive and entertaining player to watch in Emil, who is from Denmark. Has reached around 2,200. I actually think has reached 2,300 now that I say it. And I think comes here in here as a slight favorite up against Gabi, who is a Brazilian player who is the strongest female in our scene. She's been around for quite a few years, and she's really improved over the last year or two. So sometimes people will ask, like, T90, are there any pro players that are female? Yes, there are, and that would be Gabi. There's not many else. I think, like, the next closest is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of elo below her. Gabi's gone for the Celts, and then Emil has gone for the Japanese. And I'll be curious to see how Emil performs, because having played against both of these players, Gabi gives me like a serious try-hard vibe in ranked games. Like, will lame at times, is always going for the win condition, is always trying to play standard. There's just like a feel that she gives off, which is like, I'm playing like this is a tournament. And then Emil, even though Emil has reached higher rank and I think has more skill, I've only seen play Arabia. I don't see it play a lot of other maps. And, I mean, for example, it's going to lumber camp this. I guess you're Japanese, so it's whatever. But yeah, I just don't know how experienced Emil is, and I just don't get the same vibe from Emil. So, you've got Emil playing Japanese, which I think is the better civ on the map. Mainly because of the fish access, and I think that Japanese can thrive there, but Celts could obviously fish as well. They do chop wood faster, and I think faster man-at-arms and that faster wood income can lead to some early aggression with man-at-arms and archers. So my current feel is both players should probably dock. Not everyone has been docking, by the way. A lot of people have been skipping it. In most cases, the people who skip the dock lose, though. And then also that we're going to see infantry archer from both. If this was a game that would go on really long, you favor the Japanese, because the Japanese have the samurai, and samurai just completely wreck everything that the Celts can make. Except, like, heavy scorpions, so. But it's not going to be a normal game, you would think. Yeah, Gabi is a beast these days, I agree. I casted her playing Bruh on 4 Lakes last week, and I was really impressed. Yeah, she's going to go for the dock. And Emil is not docking yet, but also hasn't milled, so maybe doing so. Let me do a test real quick. TC. Okay, so wood's just a couple tiles off. TC. How do I default it? Okay, so I mean, there's really not that big a difference with where the wood lines were taken. I was just curious if there, because of this opening, if there was. In theory, if Emil wanted to, Emil could easily just take this wood line. I was just trying to think of balance. We have a drush from Emil. I mean, again, to restate what I've already said, I really think this is just not good. Like, it puts you in a spot where if you don't do damage... Wait. No, it's not a drush. It's super fast up. So you need 2 Dark Age buildings, right? This is a Dark Age building, and this is a Dark Age building. Ah. So it's like fast archers? Maybe? Oh. Okay. So, for those that don't know, Emil is big fan of forwards. Big fan of maps like Socotra. Big fan of doing damage all the time. Not really your standard meta players. Very aggressive. Seeing a lot of those players here in Silver. Emil is going to just chop wood there temporarily. And now sees where Gabi's taking wood. Gabi just clicks up to feudal age now. Gabi has these fishing ships bringing in food all the time. It's a massive lead to have. But obviously, if you lose all your villagers on the wood line and you die, then... I mean, losing all the villagers on the wood and access to wood is just game over for you. So you've invested into this in hopes of keeping it. Villagers head to stone. Like, look how razor thin the margins are right now for Emil. And Gabi's also really confused. Like, where is Emil's wood? Oh, man. This is the type of stuff that I struggle so much against. But he can't even... Yo, man-at-arms, like... Gabi's making militia. Gabi's probably thinking, uh-oh. I wouldn't show this. Well, actually, if Gabi walls herself in, that's actually good for you if you're Emil. She's going to send her militia. Tower's going to go up and be garrisoned, and it's going to make this party even crazier. No man-at-arm upgrade. The food eco isn't there. There's the tower. Now, the militia do attack faster because you're Japanese, plus you have the scout. Now Gabi obviously loses access to some wood, and this gets messy. Tower will be walled in. Militia's getting hit here. Good aggression here from Emil, but we do have man-at-arms for Gabi. And now militia are faster, and Gabi just switches wood lines. I need you guys to watch the idle TC time in this game. I think it's going to get wild. Still no man-at-arm upgrade. In a moment, we could see Gabi consider an engagement. If you don't kill Vils immediately, you're just behind without any fish. That's what it feels like to me. And a great engagement from Gabi. Great patience from her. And even saves the scout, which could end up being important later on. Now we have an archer range, and Emil didn't add an archer range. Emil's now doing it, as we see lumber camp number 3. Yeah, you also have a bonus with the Japanese with fishing ships. 2 bonuses, actually. You know how it goes, right? Like, I personally don't think this is a good strategy over long term in a tournament game. But that's what Silver brings you. It brings the players who disagree with that outlook. The players who have confidence and say, I can destroy this person before it matters, T90. And so far, Gabi's like, yeah, can you? Because I've killed 4 units. You haven't killed a single one from me. My fish are still freely bringing in some food. And she has a wood line. And she's going to have archers. And she's going to have fletching. And she even has a tower. And now there's no defense at home for Emil. Idle TC time starting to creep up a little bit here for both players. But I think the biggest issue is going to be Emil. Emil hasn't transitioned into any farms. There's an archer on the way too, and that archer can go right to the berries. And these villagers can't stay walled in here anymore. Okay, tower is going to go up here for Emil. Emil's got no army to back this up right now, but fletching's in. Like, just squeezing in fletching despite not having a lot of eco. And Gabi's going to be like, no, we will not allow it. I think this is GG. Like, I think this is... Gabi has dealt with this so nicely. The only thing Gabi needs to make sure she doesn't do is lose her archers here. And you can tell she's been overwhelmed by it. This could actually start to be the beginning of a problem for her. Let's see how much HP the tower actually has when it's completed. Okay. Meanwhile, this is still something Gabi's controlling, which is good. And Gabi still needing to find the answer to these 2 archers before rushing out with Vils. Holy eco problems right now, man. This is messy. This is what Atsukama can bring to the table. Tom, this series was played 2 hours ago. I haven't seen the games, obviously. Okay, Emil's got a chance with that tower. Now we have 2 towers denying wood, and it's just getting a little more awkward for Gabi. But eco KD 2-1. Resources collected this game. Just insane difference. Whole way across the board. So I like the activity from Gabi's scout. I like Emil's micro here. Emil doing his best to try and micro. Even the villagers have been brought into the picture, but you've got skirms now for Gabi. And, yep, Emil's falling apart. You could see, like, the pressure that Emil has been put under to do damage. And all the archers are going to be cleared up. The villagers here consistently get cleared up, and we have a 16-minute game. I love Emil. Glad to see Emil signs up for something like this, but Gabi just showed how to play the map. Celts played it very well. Wood bonus obviously came in clutch to, at the very least, be able to afford making new lumber camps at times. And what is that, like the third time we've seen this in Silver where someone tries to go all in with no water and then they just die. I do wonder as well, like, how much preparation these players gone for? Like, have they watched some games to see how players transition it with this version? There was a game where a player in the first round didn't even know there was water because there's other versions of Atacama that don't have water. So, like, honestly, if I had to guess, I would say Emil genuinely didn't know there was a pond until, like, later on. And believe me, you feel it. You're like, how did this? And then the game ends. You're like, oh. So, regardless, I think that the preparation for Gabi obviously paid off there. And we'll move on to the next one. So, you know, it was a bit of a questionable start here for Emil in this series, and it's a best of 3. And we've got Emil playing as the Chinese. The Chinese, obviously, the big thing with them is, can you get your start down right? Because you start with additional vills, but you don't start with food. And then for Gabi's the Mongols. Mongols, one of the best civilizations on this map. So I think Chinese, obviously, could be better in the mid-game. You've got Mongols on a map with a lot of hunt, where aggression matters, and that's precisely what the Mongols are going to want when they load into a game. Gabi's actually going to go forward here. Gabi's not going to push in any of this hunt. Gabi's going to choose to go forward and try and steal resources, which I don't mind. I'm pretty sure you could find your opponent, steal some sheep, and be back at home and still push in the majority of your food before feudal, so... And if there's any civ you want to take resources from, it's probably the Chinese. I agree with D. Calling the map by the same name as a ladder map when it's so completely different is poor form. Is that poor form? So let's say that's poor form, okay? Let's just say that. And let's forget about the fact that there's been multiple tourney versions of the map. And we're going to forget about the fact that it was the same version of the event that took 2 months the first season. And we're going to forget that that's actually the Norman tournaments. So forgetting all that, which is worse form? Having the same name as a ladder version and having it be slightly different, or signing up for a tournament, scheduling to play the tournament, being a high-level player, and not looking at the map once before you play. Not trying to come off as super judgmental here, but I feel like it's a really low barrier of entry. Really low barrier of entry if you sign up for an event. Not to even practice, but just look at a screenshot. Like, download the map pack and just take 10 minutes to just look at what the maps look like. So, I mean, from the tournament host perspective, who has to put the things together to get the money for the event, who has to pay people for the organization of the event, who has to pick the map pool and give feedback on testing the actual maps myself. From all the work that I have to do, if anyone were to actually say it's poor form to have just the same name, I would be like, it's not that bad, dude. It's not that bad. I think I get your point, right? I get why there can be some confusion, at least from a viewer perspective. But yeah, anyways, we didn't see anything here as far as the laming's concerned. On Liquipedia, Atacama doesn't show the ponds. I've always said that Liquipedia can't be trusted. I've always said it. I don't know who I can reach out to about that, to be honest. They might not have. They might just upload like a general image of it. Yeah, dude, just look at the maps. Just look at the maps. But we don't even know if that's a situation for Emil. Like I said with Emil, I think that he is just that type of player who believes that level of regression can be really good. So, yeah, maybe the compromise, it's poor form from everybody. I didn't have issues with saying it's confusing. I had issues with the wording of poor form. That was my issue. Anyways, Emil most likely will be scouts here. And for Gabi, Gabi's going to do what I consider to be the best thing against the Chinese. Go man-at-arms. The reason for that is, it's the one strategy the Chinese can't realistically pull off with their eco. And it is also on a map where it's very difficult to wall, and where the wood lines can oftentimes be overchopped. So scouts take a little bit more time. Going and building up towards man-at-arms can be really strong. The main issue here, I guess you could say, about the build is that with this uptime, 18 villagers, it is fast, but the build order is really hard to pull off perfectly. We're going to see some walling here on the side from Emil, and Emil's doing that thing that Chinese do. And Emil clicks up. So if Emil could get the walls down before the man-at-arms arrive, this could be huge. Gabi knows where Emil is, scouted the lumber camp early, and is going to be looking for damage now. Yeah, it would be really awesome if Gabi qualifies for gold. I mean, everything has looked really clean with how she's viewing the maps thus far. Obviously, there was a big disparity between her approach and Emil's approach in the first game. But, I mean, even here, like, the way she's playing this is really sick. And she's going to go 2 vills. She's just going to go fast archers here, and she's just going to try and get those archers in to apply pressure as quickly as possible. So man-at-arms will eventually be archers. And, I mean, can we maybe question Emil a little bit? Like, picking Chinese, it seems like a really vulnerable spot to be. No scouting either. Also, Gabi doesn't see this. I just assumed Emil was going to lose vills here. But, I mean, the palisade wall is going to go down way faster than it's gone up. Actually, that's not true. It's slower than it's gone up, but it still goes down. Is there not a hole there or what? No, now Gabi sees the villagers. Now Gabi sees the vills. And Emil is actually running away. So now Gabi needs to go back. To the hole. All right, that's funny. So much walling, man. And there's archers here already. We don't even have an archer range yet for Emil. Okay. More quick walling from Emil. Still is a Vill lead, right? Lots of idle time, lots of pressure. It's non-stop. Gabi's patience has been awesome here so far. It was exactly what the opponent's doing all the time. His aggression just seems so well calculated here. This is something that she'll have to brush up on. Obviously, she's focusing a lot in the fights right now. But she's found a reward for it. And Emil's not taking any gold, so it's just going to be skirmishers, which means the man-at-arms are going to be alive for so long. And oh my goodness, like, this wood line's idle. These villagers are idle. These villagers are... They're working, but it's not pretty. I think this is going to be even faster than the first game. Could be, anyways. Obviously, depends on the micro. And Emil's doing a good job at trying to save the villagers, and is saving the villagers. But still, the eco doesn't look great. Another villager's going to get saved. Holy! Is the food eco going to be there? Is villagers being inside the town center really that good for you? Finally, a villager goes down. And Gabi with some good micro back. Gabi still with good aggression, and we have a counter tower being forced now. Look at Emil's economy. And archers, man-at-arms will eventually be finished off here. Gabi, just like the previous game. Oh, no, never mind. She didn't save the weak scout. Let's see if Emil can stabilize now. At home, we've got a little bit more hunt being taken from Gabi, who's got no farms. These villagers are going to make a stable in the back of the base because the opponent's on skirms. That's sick. Also, there was a hole here the whole time. It's really ambitious to try and full wall this map. Also, what was happening there? Like, I didn't see the archers for so long, and there were vills out here? I don't know, guys. No eco upgrades either with the Chinese, right? You have cheap upgrades. That's how bad it's been. Meanwhile, we have an eco upgrade for Gabi. Gabi's got fletching on the way. Gabi's got horse color on the way. Gabi's destroying Emil. This isn't even close. And this is before we could see a scout come in. Also, this tower, I think, could be kept alive for a moment anyways. We could see repairs on it. And look, like that, that's going to be a villager that saves himself. This is going to be the villager that goes down. This looks rough. Feeling for Emil, obviously. This is a lot of pressure. The tower, though, doesn't protect this wood line, so needs to shift back over to this one. I think the eco-efficiency tab is going to be wild. Look at this. Worker efficiency last minute, and then worker efficiency in total. There's a 15% difference in total. That's rare. That was an opportunity for Gabi to kill a Vil. Gabi hasn't killed as many Vils as you would expect this aggression to do. But 4 isn't too bad. And Emil just calls it. Wow, 2 16-minute games. That lived short, 11. Well, I respect Emil for that. Emil's like, well, that wasn't too good. And yeah, I mean, Gabi, you got to give her credit. I think just like, you know, taking nothing away from Gabi, I already said she looks really clean. I think she's playing well. I think Emil's approach was kind of rough in both games. You don't see Chinese on Serengeti too frequently because of how fast civs can apply pressure and how hard it is to wall. And then game 1 was just as glaring, if not more so, with going Japanese and not trying to add any docks. But like, does Gabi come to play or what, man? Like, she really had the aggression mastered there and played very clean. How long of a video is that going to be? That's going to be a 22-minute best of 3. That's with the time in between the games as well. Hope you enjoyed, YouTube. People didn't even fall asleep yet, Gabi. Come on. Sick.